Jeff Mayweather says Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson is the best fight in the division. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, Jeff Mayweather, the uncle of Floyd Mayweather, the brother of Floyd Mayweather's father, and a really good boxing coach, really good boxing analyst, recently gave an interview, and he spoke about what is the best fight in the lightweight division. Now, at one point, the welterweight division was the best division in boxing. It had all and everything going for it. It had all and everything going for it. You know, the best fights were there. The best were fighting the best at one point, and we were getting some really good fights out of the welterweight division. And it just seems like over the past few years, that's kind of all falling apart. And the lightweights have picked it up. You know, the heavyweights had their time. You know, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Usyk still popping, Anthony Joshua, you know, his name's still ringing bells. These guys are still out there. It's just they're not considered the most entertaining or the biggest draws in the sport of boxing anymore.
What did you say, nigga?
Now it's the lightweight division. And 90% of that is due to the knockout ratio of Gervonta Tank Davis. And people are trying to figure out, okay, if Tank is that good, who is his biggest rival at this point? Because everybody they've tried to face him up with that they thought would be a good matchup and it might turn into a legendary fight ended up being kind of simple for Tank. Tank kind of figured these guys out in a few rounds and then knocked them out like he pretty much does everybody. So, at this point, who is Tank's biggest competition? Well, I think a lot of people feel like his biggest competition is Devin Haney, believe it or not. Now, Devin Haney became champion by beating George Kambosos. Nobody can take anything away from Devin Haney just because he gained his championship by beating George Kambosos. Now, George Kambosos is a tough fighter, man. He didn't just become champion. He had to go in there and beat the crap out of Teofimo Lopez, and he did that. And you can't sit here and say that just because he wasn't a well-known name in America that he's some type of slouch fighter or Devin doesn't deserve any accolades for beating George Kambosos. He absolutely does. But I think there are a lot of people who feel like that should have been Tank.
Out like this in your 40s.
And in a lot of ways, I'd have to agree. I think, and like George Kambosos, but I do feel like people sidestepped Tank and they went with what they thought was going to be an easier fight. And they got their butt whooped for that. And you have to salute George Kambosos for going in there and doing his job and proving that every fighter truly does have a puncher's chance as long as you go in with the right mentality and the right game plan. You might beat somebody that you were really overmatched against. And that's what George Kambosos went in there and did. Now, he tried to do it once again with Devin Haney, and Devin Haney took advantage of the things that I think a lot of people knew and saw in George Kambosos. Taking nothing again away from George Kambosos, a great fighter, but I think people saw the flaws in George, and it was easy to exploit those for Devin, and he did it very quickly twice. And now you have a situation where Devin Haney should be the biggest name in the lightweight division, but because of his road to getting to champion, nobody really respects him. On top of that, he doesn't have no power in his punches. He has no power in his punches.
I'll show you throwing.
No, gross.
How spectacular.
So he's highly disrespected because of that. And then you got Gervonta Davis over here knocking the crap out of people, being so small but so dominant in his fights. And I think a lot of people feel like, well, if George Kambosos was actually Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney would probably have gotten knocked out already and or have moved to 140. He would have probably moved to 140 and avoided Gervonta Davis. And Davis would have probably beat George Kambosos and been the unified champion of the world, undisputed champion of the world. Now, when it comes to Shakur Stevenson, I do feel like is slightly more talented than Devin Haney. But the problem for Shakur is he's a lot less experienced than Devin Haney. So, where I think Shakur could possibly, have a puncher's chance versus Gervonta Davis, where I don't think Devin Haney really has a puncher's chance. I think his only shot of winning is to try to outpoint Gervonta Davis, and that would be a long night. Shakur Stevenson, he has some good power. He has speed. He has great ring IQ. And these are the same things that Jeff Mayweather was saying. He was saying that I feel like Shakur has a puncher's chance where Devin is more of a toss-up fight. Shakur could be more of a 50-50 fight because of his speed and ring IQ. Now, his power isn't proven at 135 pounds because he just got there, but definitely you have to give him the puncher's chance based off his speed. Now, if he was able to overwhelm, and I think that's how you beat Gervonta Davis, you have to overwhelm him with stuff he can't keep up with. I think the one thing that he doesn't have in droves is he's not the most speedy fighter, but he can be speedy when he wants to be. The power is the real danger when it comes to Gervonta Davis. His knockout ratio is out of this world. But I think what people sleep on, and this is the same thing Jeff Mayweather said, his ring IQ is through the roof. It's not just high, it's extremely high. And that is the most dangerous thing in the world in a boxing ring, is a puncher with a high IQ. What screwed Mike Tyson's whole career up was his lack of boxing IQ. When Mike Tyson was young and Customato had him, and Customato was doing the right thing by Tyson, he had Tyson as the baddest man on the planet because of his ring IQ. It wasn't just the fact that he was knocking guys out and he had that whole herky-jerky weird style that people just couldn't figure out at the time. It's his ring. If you go back and watch his fights back then, his ring IQ was very high. When Customato died, Mike Tyson just became a brute. He was all brute after that. It was just, I'm going in here to knock these people out as quickly as possible and go have me some fun. And, that's not the recipe to be a great fighter. And when you look at a guy like Tank, he's almost the complete opposite. Very weird with his apparel and dress, but extremely passionate and extremely skilled when it comes to that boxing and that boxing ring, man. And I would never, ever, ever, ever say that Gervonta Davis is the underdog in any 135-pound fight at the moment.
Don't listen to or believe anything that's been told you until now. And don't complain unless you have a solution. But there are solutions, and stick together with your brothers, period. And don't do anything just for money. And that's not just for black people, that's for anybody, people in general. The fact that we are even separated by color and religion is all meant to divide us so we can't get nothing done. And it's an obvious trick. The division thing, whether it's culturally or humanity, it's all meant so that we can stay stagnant.
Now, until we see somebody perhaps better or on Gervonta's level, which I haven't seen anybody just yet, I think Shakur is almost there. I think Devin's almost there. He just lacks power. I think until then, just give Gervonta Davis his props. The man has power. He has ring IQ. He has footwork. I mean, he does it all. There's nothing Gervonta Tank Davis can't do in a boxing ring. So I would agree with Jeff Mayweather. I do think the Shakur Stevenson fight is the most intriguing fight when it comes to 135. But you can't say that Devin Haney isn't, shouldn't be mentioned amongst that name. If you mention Gervonta Davis or Shakur, you got to mention Devin Haney. You know, they all go hand in hand right now until somebody knocks somebody else off. Until then, you just got to keep on saying all three of them's name together. But I definitely do have some types of agreeances with Jeff Mayweather here. Y'all hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you would like to collabo, feel free to hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are mine.
Welcome to the Ville, killer cop capital. Cops kill a nigga quick, that's why we animals. They fucked around and let him out of his cage. When they let a nigga out on stage. See, I'm finna act a fool, smack a fool, pack a tool. Leave a nigga's head smoking like a pack of cools. Okay, niggas wanna play petty, burn his ass up, leave him looking like he played Freddy. Hooked up with cash is YV, them chicks with asses eye me, that classy guy keys. Knock a bitch out, pop a bitch mouth, pop up in a nigga house, knock up his spouse. Now the gun rack looking like measurements, 45, 38, 22, let them rip. So when I go for the triggers, y'all better go get y'all niggas.
Hold on, is there a problem?
Cause we can bring the guns in it.
Take the back of the floor and beat a nigga's ass with it. Y'all really won't beef with us, and y'all want it outside in the streets with us.
Sick of what I heard, man. Niggas outside, they slangin' that rock. Chicks on the side, they slangin' that. Nigga like me, they making see. Chicks making money, they breathing up. I said everybody gotta get paid. I said everybody gotta get paid. I said everybody gotta get paid. I can't hate you, dog. Get your pay. Hey, yo, I came up. Louisville, West End, nigga, 22nd Street today. And ain't nobody really paved the way. So I'm out here struggling, trying to make my way. I see lax, bourbons, nigga, North's watch. At the same time, I'm smoking on a talk stop. I'm thinking of his ways to get my bread in. But now it's a dead end, and plus I got dead friends. And my people just got out of that pen. Yeah, I should've wrote him, but you know how that is. Niggas see me rolling, cops pull me over and they mad it ain't stolen. Money be folding. You know I'm trying to rescue my nieces and my nephews, put them in a prep school. I suggest you approach respectful. I'm all about them big checks, dude. Niggas outside, they slanging that rock.